Good morning. Ali Benjamin here with Growing Edge Live. Here broadcasting from Big Bear Lake, California. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to Growing Edge Live. We are a virtual community that has been gathering for several months now here on Facebook every Sunday morning at 10:15 a.m. Mountain Time. So if you're joining us for the first time, great. We have a 15-minute message, spiritual tune in, tune up. And so welcome. If you're joining us, if you're coming back for more spiritual nourishment, welcome. Good to see you. I can see that Michael Benjamin's here, Yvonne, Carol. Hello, everyone. Ali Benjamin here, Natalia. So good to connect here in our virtual Facebook community. And we have a good morning everyone. We've got a great message this morning. Our theme for this month of February is Wholeheartedness, and it's the Heart Month. And so lots of love to you. Happy Valentine's Day is coming up, and I wish you lots of love in your life. And I know that today's talk will help you connect with your heart and unleash a river of love that will pour over everyone and everything everyone you meet and everything that you experience. So welcome to Growing Edge Live. Ali Benjamin here. So let's just take a moment to connect, closing the eyes and taking a breath. And taking that 18-inch journey down from the brain, down from the head, down into the heart. And as we center ourselves in our heart, let us activate a field of love, a field of appreciation, and set our intention this morning to be open, to be available, and to allow everything that we share here today to be absorbed into our hearts and into our minds with ease and grace. And for this we are blessed. And so it is. Well, good morning. Today I'm talking about wholeheartedness. And our book for the month is this one. It's Love and Law by Dr. Ernest Holmes. This was a book written in the 1918, so 100 years ago, and it's packed full with amazing spiritual principles that I'll be drawing on as I share my talks throughout this month of wholeheartedness, love and law. Love leads the way, law makes the way possible. So today I'm going to be sharing 3 keys to unlock the heart and unleash a stream of loving energy, loving light that transforms relationships, transforms our lives. And wholeheartedness, this level of wholeheartedness opens doors so that we have deeper relationships with our loved ones. Brené Brown, one of my favorite authors and teachers and researchers, says wholehearted living begins the moment you decide to be your own best friend. And that's really at the very foundation of wholehearted living, is becoming our own best friend and really valuing and honoring ourselves first. When we have a deep sense of self-worth and self-value, we're saying to the universe that here I am, authentically showing up as my most spiritually mature, spiritually present self, available, open to the divine flow of love and creativity. And when we have things in the way like shame or guilt, or we participate in blame, all of that sort of covers over our heart and keeps us from living wholeheartedly. So this is another quote from Brené Brown. Wholehearted living is about engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and to think, no matter what gets done, and how much is left undone. I am enough. It's going to bed at night thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am also brave and worthy of love and belonging. So all of us are worthy of love, being loved, and being loving. And each of us belong right where we are. Each of us belong in this amazing body, having this amazing experience with our friends, families, and loved ones, and doing all the things that we love to do. So if you're doing something you don't love to do, I encourage you to take a look at that. So the 3 keys that I'd love to share with you today to unlock this stream of loving energy and light, to sort of release and relinquish the hold that the guilt and shame and blame might be having on you from expressing yourself wholeheartedly. The first one's courage. Now, the Cambridge Dictionary defines courage as the ability to control your fear in a dangerous or difficult situation. And then the Oxford Dictionary says ability to do something that frightens one, bravery or strength in the face of pain or grief. Now, these are aspects of courage, and we all understand this. We've been conditioned to know that our heroes and heroines throughout history have displayed this kind of courage, and we've all had to develop courage as we've navigated the ups and the downs of life. The courage I'm talking about today is spiritual courage. It's courage of the heart, so to speak. So courage is a heart word. The root of the word courage is core, and that the word core is Latin for heart. And so in one of its earliest forms, the word courage meant, and I love this, to speak one's mind in telling all one's heart. To speak one's mind by telling what's in our hearts. So it sounds wonderful to be able to say what's in our heart, to share what's in our heart with others, but it's not always easy. Because of our conditioning, because of our history, we've developed ways of protecting our heart, so we don't give ourselves full permission to speak what's in our heart. And so I encourage each of us to notice this week as we feel the prompting to say something to a loved one or a coworker or someone we meet out in the world, but then we stop, we freeze because we're concerned, we're worried that we might hurt someone's feelings, or they may disapprove of us if we're that open and that vulnerable. Well, cultivating courage is something that's so important. It takes courage to speak what's in our hearts. So I'm encouraging you to go beyond that scary feeling and to take a step into your truth and take baby steps and speak what's in your heart, and it takes courage. But when we cultivate courage, we awaken something within us that gives us more confidence to step more boldly, more brilliantly out into the world as ourselves. This is an aspect of wholeheartedness. The next key is compassion. Now, the Dalai Lama says, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. What the world needs now is compassion. And I see compassion as twofold. Compassion is unconditional acceptance, meaning not to judge anything that's going on, to be at peace with what's going on in the world. Doesn't mean we agree with it, but we're at peace with what's going on. We resist the temptation to judge and have opinions, and we accept the world on the world's terms. And then the other aspect of compassion is unconditional love, that we love everyone without limits, no matter where they are and what they're up to. Again, doesn't mean we accept and we condone them if they're not coming from the most loving place, but we love them. Our hearts are big enough to include everyone in the world, wherever they are and whatever they're doing, because everyone's always doing the best they can with what they've got. Compassion in action is radical acts of kindness, and you may see people out in the world that are doing things to bring compassion, to bring empathy, to uplift others, to help alleviate pain and suffering in the world. And so this is the call to take compassionate action in the world. And then the last word, the last key to living wholeheartedly is connection. So when we have courage and we're practicing compassionate action, what happens, it's magical and it's wonderful. We develop connection. We develop a deeper bond with our loved ones. We develop a deeper value for ourselves and what we do in the world, and how we bring our unique light into the world. So courage and compassion equals connection. And true connection, true spiritual connection, mature spiritual relationships have an essence of harmony, of understanding, and a deep, abiding peace to them. So this is our call to action, to develop a deeper connection with people, to live in a more wholehearted way with the world and within our relationships, is to put our compassion into action, put ourselves out there, be willing to have courage to say what's on our mind and in our hearts. Because if we're not honest with ourselves, if we're not honest about who we are and what we want, what we truly want in the world, then we're not being completely transparent. And then what happens, because we live in this universe of cause and effect, we live in a universe of attraction. So when we're not acting authentically from our true sense of wholeheartedness and courage, then the universe then mirrors back to us, and then we experience our relationships as not being very deep or not being authentic. And so we have to be at first. So that's what Dr. Ernest Holmes in Love and Law says. We have to be it first. We have to develop a way of thinking and a way of speaking about who we are that's so authentic, that's so wholehearted, that's courageous, that the universe then mirrors back to us that level of authenticity, that level of truth. And when we're in that field of love, compassion, connection, then we feel that beautiful flow, that flow of life that we're all here to experience when we're living in our true self. So I have a question for you. And every week I ask a question so that you can dive more deeply into this. You can have a discussion with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, so that you can develop a deeper sense of courage, compassion, and connection, and actually take this out into the world, because we are the ones, and now is the time. And what the world needs is these amazingly simple spiritual principles and practices. And so when we take them to the streets, we lift up the world. So here's the question. Have you had an experience of deeper connection and compassion through an act of courage? And if so, what was the result? Have you had an experience of deeper connection and compassion through an act of courage? If so, what was the result? I know that you've pushed yourself to be courageous in your life. Think of that and share it in the circle. I know everyone's meeting at the Satya Center and sharing this question. And I encourage you to think of a time that you really pushed yourself and you moved beyond a boundary. You moved beyond your growing edge. You moved beyond your paradigm and you acted courageously. And through that act, you developed a greater sense of compassion for the other or the others, for yourself, and a deeper sense of connection with yourself, the others, and the world. So I have some affirmations, so listen and repeat. I courageously speak from my heart. I courageously speak from my heart. I see through the eyes of compassion. I see through the eyes of compassion. I experience a deep connection with all life. I experience a deep connection with all life. So namaste. Thank you for being here today. I'd like, if you've enjoyed this message, if you've been spiritually fed and you'd like to support our virtual online spiritual tune-in and tune-up here at Growing Edge Live, you can support us with a financial donation. We use Venmo, and you can push your donation to Satya Center, SATYACENTER, Satya Center. And I say thank you ahead of time for your generosity, because your generosity supports our mission, which is to inspire minds, heal hearts, and transform lives. So thank you again, and let's close with a little activation or prayer, closing the eyes, tuning in, and knowing that right here there is God, there is life, there is spirit, there is the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever you call that loving presence that is the very fabric and the very movement of creation that is occurring right now. And so as we align with this one life, this one presence, as we unify and we understand that we are a point, a center for the creative energy to flow through our bodies, our minds, our hearts, our hands, out into life, that we allow this energy, this love energy, this compassion, this courage, this connection to flow through us out into the world. And as we do, we connect with life in a deeper, more meaningful way. And as we give ourselves permission to speak what's in our hearts, to have courage, ordinary courage, I call it. And as we give ourselves permission to activate courage today, to take a stand for compassion, and to notice what happens because of that deep connection, a deep sense of belonging, a deep sense of being available to life. And as we do so, the universe rushes in to support us in every possible way. And in this way, our lives are uplifted and elevated, our health, our finances, our relationships, our careers, our vocations, everything begins to move with a particular ease and grace, and I call this good and very good. So I give thanks for each and every person watching. I give thanks for the Satya Center, for these Growing Edge Live broadcasts, and every one of the people watching today, whether you're watching this live right now, or whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook later on. I send my love, I send my heart, my compassion, my courage. And in that way, we are all connected in the one life, one power, one presence. Thank you, Spirit of Life. And I release this prayer with absolute certainty. It's already done. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste, peace and blessings. See you on Thursday night, 7 p.m. here on the Facebook Live at the Satya Center. And again next Sunday. Namaste. Bye-bye.